And I'm going to preach on this again if you missed it the first time, in regards to technology. The battle between good and evil has been being waged since the beginning of time. But I feel, and you might say believe, I don't 100% believe it, but I believe it, that with technology advancing to the point where it's at now, technology has almost made it so it's almost given evil the upper hand to where it can't be beat. But that's not scriptural. It's not, prophetic. It's not what it's supposed to be. And the only way to counter that way of thinking is to say, well, yeah, and this is, I've noticed this for a long time, past 20 years, everything that happens to me, this has crossed my mind to where, and I've talked about it, it's easy to see, these people try to control, they try to harness God's power by manipulating and controlling people who have a real connection to God. People that move mountains, so to speak, or God moves mountains for them. So these people don't have any power, or they do witchcraft and they only have so much power, but they see God's real power and they want to control it. They try to harness it. And with technology, good Lord. I think it's pretty self-explanatory once you get the kind of idea that what I'm trying to say. But now, to the point where, okay, it's like being in a maze. And everybody gets put in this maze and eventually they get out. But you, for some reason, because you're of God, every time you get close to the exit, they block it and open it up in another place that wasn't open before. You've already been there. So even subconsciously, your brain is going to tell you not to go back that way because you've already been there. Your brain, even though you don't consciously realize it, you understand what I'm saying? Your brain may steer you away from the open door because you've already been there and it wasn't there. And where the door was, it's been blocked. And constantly, to the point where it's like, you can't get out. But God's plan is for you to get out. So you're going to get out one way or another. And these people, you can't even see to the degree that they are fighting your destiny. You know what I'm saying? Fighting God in a way that people can't see. Or maybe you all see it and the people being attacked are the only ones who really don't see it, at least not as clearly as you do, because you're on the other side watching like you're in a coliseum, right? Watching me fight lions for entertainment and get eaten, right? I don't know. Yeah, I'd say we're not far from that, right? But so if your destiny is to get out and it's in God's hands, at what point, you see, that's where you're teetering with the boundaries of, that's what I'm saying. It's all coming to a point, or a head, as they say. Is that how they say it? It's all coming to a head, to where God says this is how it's going to be, and they say no, and they have all this technology, and they build around it and try and trap God's plan, to the point where they just won't give up, to the point where it's going to destroy everything. Do you understand? Does that make sense? Long story short, to where they won't give up. It's like they're not even human. They're not even self-aware. Like they're just demonically possessed. I don't know. How else can you explain that? Because that's what technology is doing. They have every intention of using technology to finally perfect slavery. You don't fucking see it? Are you stupid? Or are you just evil? Which is it? You can't see, and then I'm supposed to sit here and be friendly and your life's great, knowing that something's wrong with you, that you believe in slavery, that you're trying to see slavery be perfected, going completely and all the way against God, as people who have enslaved others always have been completely against God. Whether they even knew it or not, they were, just as you are. But the battle that maybe you're not seeing, I'm not seeing, but it's going on. They are trying to control everything. And if you believe, or God actually is the one in control, and at some point, it's going to force God and his work to appear. Yeah, I've talked about this before. It's going to force God's hand to make it obvious that he's there, destroying people's faith. I mean, it's in a sense, because just like Jesus said, you have seen me, so now you believe. You didn't believe, but now that you see me resurrected, now you believe. But blessed are those who believe but have not seen. You know what I mean? It's just like if they got cameras on everything we do, and you can't get away with committing a crime, but we're all sinners, it comes to a point where, well, you're committing crimes knowingly on camera, because that's human nature. So that ties into the mark of the beast, where you know you're committing crimes and you're caught, but you're not going to jail. Only some people go to jail. That has everything to do with the Antichrist. Lawlessness has everything to do with it. You're not following me, are you? You're not understanding what I'm saying about technology. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it. Or you know and you don't care. You love it. I don't know what your deal is. But you see, from where I'm looking, what I see, you're not good. You're not you don't even deserve to be in my presence when you're in you're in the Matrix. I mean, we could say you're in the Matrix. That doesn't do it justice. You are absolutely fighting for the enemy, evil. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question. There's only confusion. The confusion, like I said, if they didn't have censorship, if they didn't have all the lies, the fake news, and all the manipulation, then you would clearly see God. But with all see how this keeps coming back to the same place? You better believe what the fuck I'm telling you. You better believe it, because it's absolutely true. There's no doubt in my mind. This technology is going to destroy the earth. I guarantee it. It's going to be the main thing to do it. And you just cling to it like it's the greatest thing in the world. I don't understand that. It's taking away free will. It's forcing God to expose himself in real life. How can these people have the power to force God's hand? They don't have the power to force God's hand. So you tell me, how does that equation work? If God has a plan, but they do everything they can to stop God's plan, they use all these tactics and technology to do it, explain to me how they cannot force God's hand. See, this is a riddle right here of all riddles. This is the end times riddle. It is the end. It's the end of the world riddle. How did they try to control with all their technology, and God still maintain control without being seen in plain sight? How does God get you out of that maze when they keep closing the door? How does he get you out if that's his will, without performing a miracle? And if he performs a miracle because they force him to, that gives them the power to force God's hand. And that doesn't make sense. The equation doesn't make sense. So you tell me I can't wrap my head around it, but I tell you one thing, it's not good. And it's an explosive situation that's being created that we are living in right now. And you better fucking believe it.